You're listening to Finish the Damn Book, the podcast for procrastinators. Susie Schaefer, known as the Book Doula, works with authors and publishing professionals to turn stories into movements that make an impact. Welcome to this episode of Finish the Damn Book. I'm your host, Susie Schaefer. My guest today is Dr. Jodi Blinco, founder of the U School, Zen leader, and Yoga Cowgirl. Jodi is a serial entrepreneur, breakthrough coach, speaker, and educator who has become an iconic leader for transformative personal and professional growth. Holding a doctorate in education and a certified yoga instructor, Dr. Blinco's mission is to empower and inspire others to realize their fullest potential, overcome life's challenges, and achieve personal as well as professional fulfillment. Her genuine passion, unwavering courage, and relentless pursuit of knowledge is a constant reminder that hard work, dedication, and perseverance can indeed change the world for the better. Welcome, Jodi.
Thank you for having me, Susie. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. It's been a minute since we caught up. So, what have you been working on lately? I just want to know everything that you've been up to.
Well, I finished the damn book in November of last year. Here it is. Here, I'm holding it up. I don't know if we're on video or not, but
it's Inner Alchemy, and it's a great book. Get it?
Yes. Inner Alchemy, transforming everyday BS into sunshine. It says the real word, but anyway. So I finished the damn book in November of last year, and have in the new year of 2025, I wanted to really put more of myself into my company, Zen Leader, which was a brainchild since 2017 and went through multiple iterations of its brand and who it was serving and what it was about. And I said to myself last year, it's time. It's time to really give all of what I can give to this brand and its offering and really bring it to life in the way that I want it to be able to serve the world. So there was a lot of energy put into the rebranding, the website, the services, again, who it's serving. And Zen Leader really is a combination of my yoga and wellness and holistic background and my corporate background together. There's such a need to take care of people in the business world or in the business space. And I use that term very broadly because business can be anything. But I think nowadays people, this is not necessarily new, but it's heightened where people are just struggling to stay grounded and keep it together. And there's a lot. And so Zen Leader is really catering to that business and corporate setting to be able to meet people where they are, offer them holistic development, but also offer them skill development in a way that helps to impact the company's bottom line. So to answer your question, I finished the damn book. I worked on Zen Leader. Zen Leader is now back out into the world. And I went on a yoga retreat. What else did I do? I think I will say this too, and this is more of a personal evolution / lesson that 2025 helped to put front and center for me, and some challenging ways is to really think about, and I don't want this to sound cliche, but it might, to really think about and invest in what matters to me, because everything can present itself as important. People, projects, things. And so being able to decipher, what do I really want to invest my heart and soul and energy and time into, and being able to look at that in a soul fulfilling way, not from a place of ego of what is this going to return to my ego, but what is this really going to return to me? So that is the very long answer to what have I been up to over the last year since we connected.
Yeah. And I think you make a really good point. Because of where we're going on the planet, energetically, all of those things, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be questioning, am I in the right role for me?
Yeah.
Because there's so much people pleasing that we're healing right now,
Yes.
that it's your services are very much going to be needed because people just don't know how to navigate this and how to stay grounded and still run a business and have a family and do all the things, right? Yeah.
Mm, yeah. And I want to call out, and I appreciate what you said about the people pleasing. Um, it would be inaccurate for me to say, "Oh, I've worked on that and I feel like I've healed it." I I think for me that will always be an evolution of healing. At different places of my life, it was much stronger than others, but the the awareness of who am I really? And again, I know that sounds like a big broad question that we hear thrown around, but really tapping into who am I authentically? What brings me energy? What do I want to offer myself to? Who am I in my authentic body, mind, and spirit? And um, how do I channel that? How do I offer that from a place of genuine offer? And again, versus the ego coming in and saying, if I offer this, then I will receive or then I will get. And that receive could be the validation, the approval, the people pleasing. And uh, been around that block many, many, many times. And I think continue to heal that.
And I think any entrepreneur has been around that block many times. And many of us are in the business of serving others. And really, that's kind of what our calling is. But you cannot serve others unless you are authentic with yourself and you show up in that way, because otherwise you are feeding the ego. You are feeding the, okay, I'm doing this for the money, or I'm doing this for the praise or the accolades, right? That doesn't help you.
Right.
And I know from personal experience, that when you show up authentically, your business changes, your business improves, you get
Mhm.
the right clients, you attract the people that you want to work with instead of having to work with people that you don't necessarily jive with.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talk about it like it's so simple. Just show up authentically. And I know that it's not, and everybody listening is like, yeah, well, it's way easier said than done. Connecting to who you are authentically, number one, and then having the confidence and strength to be able to hold that in spaces where, again, in today's environment, it's so easy to compare and chase after or need to be like someone else. And I that has been also a really powerful journey for me really over the last 2 to 3 years. I feel like to not only tap into that authenticity, but to once I'm there, be able to hold that in places where normally I would have given in or done something different to be part of the crowd, be good enough, be what I was supposed to be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And um
And many of that comes from our upbringing as children.
yeah.
We are taught by our families, by our education, by society, that we are supposed to be a certain way or
Mhm.
think a certain way or have a certain set of beliefs or convictions.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of what spiritual awakening is about, is us looking at those things and saying, "Damn, does that really resonate with me or not?" And if not, then allowing yourself to let go of those things, and sometimes this is people too, allowing yourself to let go of those things and then heal the wound around that, and grieve it as if you'd lost a loved one, because those are the things that make us up to be who we are. And until we can go back and re-examine, why do I have this belief system, or why do I feel this way about money, those things are gonna they're gonna continue to cycle again and again and again until you take the time to work on it. And I think that right now we are at a pivotal moment where this month in particular, we're recording this in February of 2026.
Yeah.
And I think this month in particular is going to be really interesting for a lot of people. And there's going to be many, many people who are questioning who they are, why they're here, do aliens exist, right? It's going to be all of that stuff at
Yeah.
once.
What's your interpretation of the fire horse?
Oh, I love the whole idea of the fire horse. And for our listeners who don't know, on the 17th, 18th of February, we are leaving the Chinese zodiacal sign of the wood snake, which is about shedding your skin, about transformation. And we're entering into the year of the fire horse or fiery horse. And to me, that is about taking action with passion. And so if you are not on that path of having passion for what you do and who you serve, then you're gonna find yourself, veering off into the muddy swamp. I
Yeah.
think, you know, and it's really hard. Like, I had this image of riding a bicycle down a path, and if you don't keep that bike on the path, you're gonna end up in the ditch there, and it's gonna be much harder to deal with it then than just stay on your path. Do the things that bring you passion, that you want to take action on, the things you can't live without, right? Just
Yeah.
do those things, because when you're in that state of a, a vibration that's greater than, then you're going to attract the things that are going to help propel you forward.
Mhm.
It's all
What's
about
going to
cause
be
and effect, really.
Yeah. And for the folks listening to this, I'm sure there's already a connection there to that cause and effect relationship and that energy and that vibration. But I don't know that I was always in a place where there was definitely a very long period of my life where I didn't understand it.
Mm.
Intuitively, I knew there was something there, but everything in my environment, everything around me told me no, no, or there wasn't a belief or honestly really any connection to self, let alone connection to something greater and so that is also a big part of the work that I do in coaching and development and transformation within organizations is helping people tap into that energetic level in a way that they're ready for, and a way where they can meet that and receive it and start or continue to be curious about what is this and how is it impacting me?
Yeah, and it's interesting because you were talking about when you were writing your book, and that you actually your whole, spiritual awakening, I could say, has actually started even before you wrote your book. But then
Oh yeah.
when you were in the throes of the writing, did you have any big aha moments, or did you have any kind of, um, you know, things that came up that you were surprised about?
I have to be super transparent about this. The book was developed in pieces. And so the name of your podcast is so appropriate for me because I would love to say that I sat down and I wrote and I slaved and I had all these challenges with it. I had plenty of challenges, trust me, but I think I had a vision of what I wanted with the book, which was for anybody to be able to pick up the book, to pay whatever page they wanted, and to be able to gather inspiration, or to be able to see themselves in whatever story I was sharing, or the symbolism of what I was sharing. So one, that happened at different stages of my life. So some of the pieces in the book, for example, there's a reference to this event that I went to in New York City where I saw Oprah and Jillian Michaels, and this reference to the life school, which anybody who knew anything about that was like, oh, that was like 2013, 2014 stuff. But I think it's important for me, it was important to incorporate even the old pieces because it shows you can have this vision that's years and years and years old. And the challenge for me was believing enough that what I had to say, someone would care enough to read it. And I think people can relate to that.
Yeah.
That was my biggest challenge. That was what was challenging for me when I did sit down to write anything. And, as I was piecing it together, the whole editing process was grueling for me because of that pattern, that belief of this isn't good. Why am I doing this? Nobody's going to want to read what I have to say. This is basic stuff, right? There's nothing here. And I would also offer to you that I'm still working through that
Mm.
thought process, being able to really put this out into the world. And that's a much deeper pattern that I'm still healing and solving. But that's the answer to your question. It was developed in pieces. And as I was developing the pieces, I don't know that I had any aha moments. Obviously, looking back, well, I shouldn't say that. Looking back, being able to reread some of those older stories, is like, wow, yeah, I remember that. I remember those feelings. I remember that learning. Um, but the challenge for me and the push for me was keep going,
Mm.
keep going. Even when you don't believe it or are struggling to see the value in your own work, just keep going.
Yeah. And I think that so many people, particularly authors, really struggle with imposter syndrome and saying, who's going to care about what I'm writing?
Yeah.
But the thing is that we can't see it because we're too close to it. You do have a unique perspective on things, and especially with your background and just and how dynamic of a person you are. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. It's super cool. But you can't see that because you're it's right there. It's part of you. So many times authors will talk about that they go through a healing process while writing because they're literally just kind of purging it out of their system,
Mhm.
and then saying, "Okay, I'm stepping into sharing this with the world." That's a little scary, right?
Yeah.
But for you, with since you've launched your book, what changes have you seen in your business, and how do you feel about putting that out there and being in the public eye?
So I think changes to my business. I would say it's been more about change to my personal brand, which obviously is interconnected to driving business. A book of of any type, there is validity to it creates a different level to your own personal brand because you've taken the time to put a book out into the world, right? I think that all by itself is there. So that has been one element is it's added another layer and dimension. And what I appreciate about being able to put this book out into the world the way that I did and with a ton of help and support and my executive coach slash best friend slash everything is my husband and he was like right behind me every step of the way, but he is one that has really pushed me down that path of authenticity and I bring that up because that's very closely connected to the cover that you see on the book, me using the word bullshit in the title. I was kind of at points coached away from that with different editors and things. And so that goes back to holding that space and holding that ground of no, this is what I want it to be. This is my vision and my channel for it. And so the elevation of the personal brand, because there's a book there, has been an impact, but also that authenticity journey of having that vision of what you want and being able to hold steadfast to, you know what? I'm gonna be okay that I'm putting the word bullshit on the title out and for the world to see and know that some people might not like that. But what it is gonna do is people are gonna relate to it, and that was the biggest thing for me is I wanted people to be able to look at the title and not be, um, turned off by Inner Alchemy. "Oh, it's too woo woo. I don't get it. What's this about? Alchemy, magic, whatever." And so having the combo of Inner Alchemy, transforming everyday bullshit into sunshine, now we've got a connection, which is also what my whole offering and service to the world is about. Hey, let's take these really complex, seemingly challenging things and let's bring it back to foundational components and elements that feel digestible
Mm.
to be able to live the life that we ultimately want to create and learn from everything along the way.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think everybody deals with a lot of bullshit in their day-to-day lives. Right? I mean, that's part of just life. And so, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, obviously you are very intuitive, but let's talk a little bit about intuition. and this can be either while you're writing the book or even maybe just something in that pertains to your business. Do you recall a time that you did or did not listen to your intuition and what happened?
Hmm. My immediate, like, as you're asking the question, I'm going, oh yeah, like there are plenty of moments. And now as I'm digesting the question, I want to be mindful of the response that I give you. I think my first thought is I am interacting with people through coaching situations or consulting or speaking all day long. I spend probably 6 or 7 hours plus on Zoom every single day. And through those interactions and the type of interactions I'm having, where I have to learn about the situation, the person, the scenario, the problem, I am relying on my intuition, my ability to read people, my ability to read through into and sometimes through what they're saying to be able to get to the real story or the foundation of it.
See past the bullshit, right?
Yes, to see through the bullshit. Well said.
Right?
So I think that is a daily application. And thinking about how it served me is also being able to read personalities and people and watch patterns and behavior and listen to this voice that shows up like, okay, this is what's really going on, or be careful, or so that voice and that intuition is there all day long helping me through those situations. And I would say where I'll offer this to, and then I'll go to a situation where I didn't listen. Um, just in out in the world, in the day to day, there are plenty of times where I might say something out loud or say, I need to do this. And it sounds like I'm over planning or being over proactive, and I might not always know why I'm saying, hey, this needs to be done right now. But sure enough, something deeper is saying, hey, we need to take care of this right now because we see this coming, 10 days from now. And then you look back and you go, man, I'm so glad I did that, or I'm so glad I didn't do that. And so not discounting the intuitive voice that seems very everyday, task oriented, simple, listening to that voice, listening to where it's prompting you and guiding you and trusting that. And I think an example of where I haven't listened, the one that's coming to mind is in business settings where you're going through an interview process trying to hire somebody and you've got a very finite amount of time. You're trying to read all the signals. You're trying to ask the right questions. And there are cues that hindsight tells you there it was right there. I had that pit in my stomach when that response was answered, when that question was answered that way. Something pinged me in that moment. I felt it and I can look back and see that. But in the moment, because you are, okay, either in survival mode or we got to get this done or we got to move this forward, that's a time where, and listen, because it'll be okay. I rationalized it somehow. I discounted it. I rationalized it because survival, and it's a strong word, but survival was more important. And sure enough, when it falls apart or when something goes the way that you didn't think it or hoped it would not have gone, again, you can look back and go, it was right there.
Yeah.
I chose not to listen.
Right. Exactly. But the the trick when that happens is to say, okay, let's chalk that one up in the memory bank because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. Because it happens to everybody that
Yeah.
we may or may not listen to our intuition at any given time. And some people don't even know what their intuition sounds like. Like you were talking about the pit in your stomach. Well, your body knows. Your body keeps the score, right? There's a book called The Body,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's very true. So if you listen to your body, your physical responses to a question or problem, something like that, and your body gets all ginned up, well, then you know that that's a trigger. And so, follow that back and figure out what's the root of the problem. Why am I triggered by that? Or Why does it seem like that person is not being genuine? All those kinds of things. When you learn how to listen to your intuition, life becomes much easier, actually. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
And when you can, in those moments where the ego wants to be louder, or being able to develop that discernment,
Hmm.
I think is
Yeah.
the learning process as well.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I love to read the cards. So shall we do some
Yes.
card pull?
What a treat.
This is like one of my favorite things in the world.
I need to see you for another reading.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've actually told the story about the elk many times.
Did you really?
I've told it, but I'm like,
Aw.
it still trips me up because I'm like, it's not that I don't trust my gifts. It's that when those things happen, it kind of blows my mind a little bit. So
You know what's so wild that you bring up the elk? I won't adjust the camera or anything, but on the floor behind me is the elk rug that
the
was
magical elk is with us
the
today.
magical elk. He's in the room with us.
Wow.
I know.
That's very cool.
Isn't that wild?
Okay, you'll have to take a picture of the magical elk and send it to me.
I will. I will.
I'll never forget when you sent me the picture of your husband. I was like, the thing's massive. It's
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
It is on our living room wall now. And for anyone that doesn't believe in that, I'm sorry, but
Still take pictures. I want to see it.
I will.
So cool. So cool. Okay, so let's see. Do you want to ask a question to the cards, a God, universe, source, whatever you resonate with, or do you want to leave it open or ask something that you think our listeners might need to know?
I want to leave it open. Let's see what comes through.
I love that. That's so fun. Oh, this is highly appropriate for our conversation. The card number is 2. 2 is the number of the builder. So we are in a time right now where everyone is having to kind of go back and look at the structure of their life and their relationships and all those things and decide what stays, what goes, right? What stays, what goes. And especially as we're getting into the year of the fire horse, like you have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
And so this is the time when you can actually really determine that and start building your new life. And the card itself is the yin card. It's kind of hard to see on this camera. So yin is the feminine energy of receiving. The card is also pink. So pink is the vibration of love. It's like rose quartz. So get more pink into your life if you're trying to receive more into your life. I always get the vision of pink roses. So get some pink roses and put them around your house. Wear a rose quartz bracelet, anything like that, because it's saying be open to receiving, because the gifts that are coming to us this year in particular are not what we expect. They are going to be the things that are very unexpected and weird and chaotic, but there are gifts for us, but you have to be open to receive those gifts. Now, the next card is a 7. 7 is the number of the divine, God, source, creator. It's also the number of like endings of patterns. And this one is to the sea. And so you can see she's in her little boat.
Yeah.
And she's got binoculars, but she's not looking through the binoculars, which is looking to the past, looking behind her. She's actually facing forward, and there's a little compass, kind of like a weather vane on the front of the boat, which is facing her north. So it's saying face your North Star, also your North Node, and look at what that is. And in your astrology chart, your North Node connects to mission and purpose in this lifetime. But she's just going to take this ride on this boat and allow the water to carry her where she needs to go. Water represents emotion. So you can see the water's very deep here. It's very deep emotion, but it's okay because, emotion is energy in motion. We all have to have emotions of some kind in order for us to heal and move forward and let go of stuff from the past. Oh, and this is fascinating. The card number is 11. 11 is about fate and destiny. And, we were talking about books because we do that. And this one's by the book.
Real.
Yeah. And so the image on the card is of 3 elephants, one following another. This very much gives me family vibes, like mother, father, and child kind of thing. But also, the elephant is extremely smart. They're very, very intelligent animals. And honestly, they kind of they don't go outside of their normal routine. They do things by the book. When one of the babies are threatened, they actually make a circle around the baby with their faces facing out, so they can attack any kind of danger that's coming towards the baby elephant. So this is saying, do things by the book. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're doing this building, period here. Just do things by the book, build it, build it and they will come.
Mhm.
And you're going to be fine. And just keep going on your way. You're on a path, a journey. The boat is also, the resemblant of a journey.
Yeah.
You're on a journey. So, just allow yourself to enjoy it, as weird as it may get. So, yeah.
Thank you, Susie.
Interesting message, huh?
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Very
pull a timing card real quick just out of my other little deck.
okay.
I want to see when when are we gonna feel this? When are we gonna feel like, oh, the realization of the change? When are we gonna feel the realization of the change?
Yeah.
In times for Lionsgate. So that's August, July. Yep, that's interesting.
I'm a Leo.
It starts now. I mean, it really starts with the fact
Yeah.
that we're going into an eclipse. We have a lot of powerful astrology this month. So I feel like, okay, it starts now. This whole us and leaving behind that year of the wood snake and entering into the year of the fire horse is going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride for some people. Stay focused, stay on your path. Don't let your bike go off into the ditch,
Great advice in general, no matter what, year it is or time frame it is.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So, Jodi, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about how people can work with you? How can people find you and work with you?
Yes. So the Zen Leader, so zenleader.org would be the best place to start. There is, if you are a female, there is a female masterclass that you can take on the Zen Leader website. There will be a program launching next month that will have a companion AI coach, Zen Leader coach, in addition to a 5-week boot camp that really brings what I was sharing with you earlier, the holistic components with the skill development components. How do we maintain ourselves in all the corporate chaos? And so be on the lookout for that. But I would say connect with me on Instagram, Dr. Jodi Blinco. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Then Leader. I also have a website, drjodiblinco.com. You can order my book, Inner Alchemy, which is
On
on
Amazon.
Amazon. Yes, thank you to Susie. Um, so yeah, those would be the best channels to continue this conversation and just explore further.
Yeah, I love that. And what final words of wisdom would you like to impart for our listeners?
Wow. You know what's funny is I ask this question often when I do podcasts, but when it's back to me, it's an interesting seat to be in.
Boomerang, isn't it?
It is. I love it. So all around me, where my desk is, it's actually facing a window, and on the window I have all these quotes in front of me, either notes from my husband or quotes that I've written to myself. And one that I look at often, I'm looking at it right now, is "You've got this." And
Hashtag you got this.
it's simple. It's simple, but sometimes that's all you need when you literally doubt that you can make it through or have the patience, strength, power, courage to accomplish what you are trying to accomplish either in that day, that moment, that week, like whatever. There's no timeline uh, of that conversation. I think those are all that's a self-coaching conversation that happens for us throughout the day. And sometimes I don't believe it at all. Like I can say you got this over and over again, or look at all the notes in the world, but that's what I would offer. And if it's not, you've got this for you, find that anchor point, find the words that you can believe in. And if you need to say them 20,000 times in one day to yourself, then that's what you need to do. Write it on a post-it note, write it on the mirror, write it on a card in front of you. because I was just there yesterday morning where, it's been a week. And so yesterday was, okay, it was literally a 1 second at a time type of day.
Yep.
So I think we can all relate. Yeah.
I have been there. And you're right. I find mantras to be extremely helpful, especially when I was dealing with healing some money wounds, which is about worthiness, right?
Yeah.
And when I was dealing with that, one of the mantras that kind of stuck with me was, "It's this or something better." Right?
I
This or
remember you
something
sharing
better.
that with me. Yes.
And it worked. It worked for me because I was like, "I'm calling it in. It's this or something better." Like there was no option for things to get worse or harder, right?
Yes.
No option. That was
Yes.
not even on my radar, you
I
know.
love it.
And for those people that really deal with imposter syndrome, one that worked for me is other people's opinion of me is none of my business.
Mhm.
That really helped me overcome not being seen and heard. So yeah, use those mantras, and I love that. I put some on my mirror. I put some, on my wall. They're all over the place. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, thanks for being here, Jody. This was fun.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. And I'm so grateful for the sporadic card reading. I wasn't expecting that today, but thank you. I needed that.
Well, thank you. And if you found this interesting, I encourage you to join me for the next episode. And be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until then, keep on writing so you can finish the damn book. We'll see you next time. That's it.
So,
Awesome. Okay, well, have a great day. Go save the world. I'll talk
you
to you.
too. Congratulations on your yoga studio. Thank you,
Thank you.
Susie. Good
Okay,
to see
see
you.
ya. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Finish the Damn Book, hosted by Susie Schaefer. If you're serious about finishing the damn book and want to explore what that could look like for you, your next step is a conversation. You can book a consultation at finishthebookpublishing.com and find out what it would take to move your book forward.